Hi, welcome to Baby Narc. I wanted to make a quick video about when I contacted Brian's doctor. So, when I had already moved here, so we had been kind of fucking around, him screwing me over, for a solid year before I moved back to our city that we grew up in, per his request, when he was love bombing me 8 millionth time. I had lived here for maybe 6 months, and he was at a low point, and he was actually trying to get sober on his own. And, God bless him. And so he was probably maybe sober for maybe a week or two. And of course, once again, he's never legit sober, but you know what I mean? No hard stuff. And, but it was tough. It was real bad. And he was freaking out, but he was love bombing me because whenever he is, quasi sober, that's when he treats me the best. So he calls me up crying, baby, I need you. Please find me help. Please find me a rehab. Please find me a doctor. Help me. I got to get sober. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to end up dead, blah, blah, blah. And of course, I'm thinking, yeah, hello. So, of course, and that was not 5 years in like it is now. That was only about a year and a half in of him fucking with me. But of course, I believed in him and I want to help him and I'm madly in love with him. And, when he is sober, he's treating me great. So, of course, in my mind, and I still think this too, that if he was actually sober, and of course, I didn't know he was a narcissist, I didn't even know what that was. I believed that if he could just get sober, then his whole life would change, everybody he interacts with would change, and he and I could start this wonderful relationship like it's supposed to be. So I, get online, research, because that's what I do. I like to do. I find him a doctor. Okay. Now, the ironic thing about it is, of course, I guess there's not that many, addiction doctors, whatever, that aren't like out of a hospital, but, private practice, in town, whatever. So, I guess it's maybe not that ironic, but he had actually seen this doctor years before. Of course, he didn't stick with it, but whatever. Now, I will give him this. That was, okay, this is 5 years, that was 1 year, so that was, I guess, 3.5 years ago. I got him this doctor, even went to his first appointment with him, got him on Suboxone. Like, literally that day, they put him on Suboxone. And I'll be damned, he is stuck with this doctor until this day. At first he was going like once or twice a week, and then it became every couple weeks, and then now since then it's been once a month. Okay. So he started doing pretty good, and he was not doing anything hard, or at least if he was sneaking it, it was few and far between, because I noticed a change in him, that he really was doing really well. And the Suboxone, so basically what Brian has been diagnosed with, like medically, technically, is schizoaffective disorder. So it's it's closely linked to schizophrenia. It's like a low form of schizophrenia. But still, many of the paranoia, the mania, the severe depression, the bipolar, so it's not just bipolar, although those are similar, but he's got like if schizophrenia was the worst thing you could have, and bipolar is the least of that type, he's like in the middle. So worse than bipolar, which is already bad enough. God bless anybody with that, but yet not quite full blown schizophrenia. So he starts taking the Suboxone. Now the Suboxone, technically, so I disagree with his doctor, and I researched so much that I feel like I should be Brian's doctor. The Suboxone is technically an opioid addiction corrector. So whatever pleasure receptors in your brain, your serotonin, let's see, there's melatonin, serotonin, and epinephrine. I could be wrong about that, but maybe I didn't research enough. So basically, he's got a serotonin uptake, receptor uptake disorder. His brain does not naturally create enough serotonin. And of course, decades of drug abuse has probably really fucked that up. But, I told you in one of my recent videos that he started doing kind of hardcore drugs at 12. 12. He was still a kid. He's not even a teenager. And he was doing hard shit. And so there's probably always been something chemically wrong with him. Yes, emotionally, yes, spiritually, yes, all kinds of things like that, with the way he was raised and who he was raised by and his crazy ass family. But I think also on a physical, physiological, chemical level, his brain has probably always had a deficiency. Hence why, because most drug addicts will tell you that they technically are self-medicating, that if they could find a regular, normal, legal drug that would fix their issues and give them the high that they love, they of course would rather do that than street drugs and trying to ruin your life and risk your life to get them, and then not be able to get them for long periods of time, and then that screws you up and makes you crazy. So, find this doctor for him, take him to his first appointment. His mom didn't even go. So, basically what Suboxone is it, like I said, to cure his opioid addiction, because he had been addicted to pills since his 30s. So, and he, for some reason in his head, he believes that his pill addiction is worse than the meth addiction, which I'm like, dude, yeah, come on now, so anyway, so probably because it's more expensive. That's probably really what it is. I bet if meth was as expensive as the pills, he'd choose the pills or whatever. So I don't know. Anyway, so it starts going to this doctor. Everything's pretty good. Better than it had been. And then, about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago now, he met this dude named Cody. Creepy little Cody I told you about. Now, he's very sweet, and if you met him, you'd immediately be like, ooh, is he like a homeless person? Is he like a homeless drug addict? Yeah. Wonderful musician, and a very sweet guy, weird, whatever, but nevertheless, a fucking crackhead, meth, dope dealer, So, because he's a musician and had all that musical equipment, Brian started staying over there constantly. And of course, they did more dope than they did music producing. So, Brian has been off the rails on meth. And who knows what else. I just don't believe. Now, I'm not saying that Brian is necessarily shooting heroin. I don't think that. But you cannot tell me that the absolute only thing that he's doing is smoking meth. I'm sure he's smoking heroin too. I'm sure he is. Come on. Fuck, I'm not that dumb. Neither are you. So, who knows what he's doing. But this guy has, coming into his life, which was supposed to be this awesome thing for them to, get like a band together and start recording music. Now, they weren't ever going to play anywhere. Cody's not professional enough to play live, but they could have recorded stuff, but it just turned into a drug fest, and it has just sent Brian on a downward spiral since that. So I guess it's been 2.5 years. So Brian has been basically on at least meth, hardcore, couple times a week, if not every day for 2.5 years. If I did that for 2.5 weeks, and of course, you have to understand, he's not eating, he's not sleeping, he's not drinking water, he's, you know, he's not doing what a human being is supposed to do to survive. So, I mean, if I did that for 2.5 weeks, oh my God, I'd probably die. I don't think my heart could take it. I don't know, who knows. But, yeah, like he just, so about a year ago, I wrote this lengthy, intense email to his doctor. Now, at the beginning of this email, that had probably 9 paragraphs in it, I prefaced it by saying, please, don't tell Brian. Don't tell his mom that I'm contacting you. Please don't. And I even said this part. I've said this verbatim. I said, I'm in love with this man. I said we were planning on getting married. And if he finds out that I've contacted you in any sort of way, he'll never speak to me again. And then I went on with, I gave him the lowdown. I said, Brian's doing hardcore drugs. I don't know exactly what, but I'm assuming anything he can get his hands on. He's hanging out with 2 dope dealers that I know of on a regular basis. He has spiraled downhill. You can see for yourself that, his looks, his body, his movements, his erratic behavior, his erratic eye movements, his teeth problems, just everything. You yourself, and I said that, you can see his descent into madness, I think is what I said. And what he's doing is he sees you, I think at that point, I think he was seeing him every 2 weeks. I said what he does is he does hardcore drugs all the 2 weeks, and then about 3 days before he knows he's going to see you, he stops. So he, comes up, it's not dirty on his, urine test. And that's how he's tricking you into thinking that he's sober. He's abusing the Suboxone. His mom had been hiding it from him, but he keeps finding it. And although I don't know how in that crazy, hoarding, messy household, but nevertheless, he was finding it, so he was doing extra Suboxone. He had also gotten put on Xanax to, because he gets so manic. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't take Xanax, but he's got to do it the correct way, but he abuses it. So he's abusing the Xanax. And then I told him, and I said, his ex-girlfriend is also a dope dealer, and she's the one providing the extra Xanax. So after he runs out of the prescription that you're giving him, he runs to her and gets, like a double or triple, the amount for the 2 weeks before he sees you. I just gave the doctor the whole lowdown. And Brian's right eye, now this has happened a couple of years ago, but his right eye has gotten droopy, and I'm convinced that he's had some sort of a stroke. And I put that in there too. I forgot the medical term of it, and I tried to sound professional. So, and my email was sounded very medically technical, and very, very professional. So I looked up whatever the condition is when your eye droops, usually from some sort of neurological issue. I put that in there because, when me and Brian first started this thing, his eye did not do that. So, just a couple of different things. And I just, I gave the doctor the lowdown on everything that was going on. And then at the end of it, I begged the doctor, I said, please, I don't know Brian's exact financial situation or his insurance situation with his job, but can you please find him a rehab for him to go to? Because I'm convinced that he needs to be in a, inpatient rehab for an extended stay. Can you please help him find a facility like that? And then I put, thank you so much. You have helped him. Appreciate, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I didn't know exactly what, well, I know he usually goes on Mondays, but I didn't know when I sent this email, it was more, it was like, I mean, I knew a couple of days I had thought about it, and I was like, man, this is a bad idea. I should do it. This is going to be bad. But I was desperate. And then, you know what? Honestly, I even told myself, I said, I am so in love with this man that if this is the clincher as to what breaks us up permanently, but he actually does get help, it's worth it. Like, really, that's how in love with him I am, and was then, and desperate. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna fucking do it. I had written the email a few days before I sent it, and then I finally just sent it. So I sent that maybe on, I guess maybe a Wednesday or a Thursday. So, I didn't hear anything back from them, the doctor's office, whatever. And then, Brian, we were actually talking at that time, and Brian never mentioned it. Well, Monday rolls around, and I get text message after voicemail after messenger message. You better fucking call me right now. How fucking dare you? You have no right to do this. This is none of your fucking business. I never ask you for anything. I don't even fucking know you. We're not in a relationship. You're some crazy bitch. How the fuck would you do this? This is illegal for you to get into my medical situation, or whatever you said it. You have no right. I'm gonna contact the police and see if I can get a restraining order against you. Whoa. So I call him, and I mean, literally, I didn't even say hello, and he basically said all that stuff to me, and then he just hung up on me, and I was like, oh shit. Well, this probably will be it. But at least I know that the doctor's office got the email. Now, to this day, Brian has never said whether the doctor was like, this girl's in love with you. We're trying to help you. I found a rehab for you to go to. Come on, let's do this, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that happened. And the other thing that I kind of worried about is, and because I specifically said in that email, don't tell Brian. Like, the doctor he could have handled it in a way of just presenting a rehab for Brian to go to. I think he had given Brian an option for that maybe a year before that, and but it was going to be down in Florida, so it wasn't going to really work out. But so why didn't the doctor? He didn't have to say anything He didn't have to say that I sent that email. He could have just found Brian rehab and kind of, not pressured him, because that's not his duty job. I mean, that is really overstepping the lines, but he could have just said, hey, hey, I was going to let you know I found this rehab, you know what I mean? So now, doctor-patient confidentiality, HIPAA, blah, 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 blah. Did he tell Brian that I sent that email because it was under his, not authority, like his responsibility to tell him? I mean, maybe that's how that works. I don't know. And of course, I know that I did definitely put the doctor and his complete medical staff in kind of a, tricky situation, little predicament there, as to, they're probably like, oh shit, what the fuck are we supposed to do with this, so I don't know. But if this doctor deals with addiction, certainly this cannot be the one-off situation that's never happened before. I don't know. If I was a doctor, I wouldn't have handled it that way. I know Brian is his patient. I'm not involved, other than taking him there that first time, but that was years ago. So, maybe the way it works, and who knows, maybe the doctor did consult a legal professional to say, oh shit, how am I supposed to handle this? And maybe they said, oh, you definitely do have to tell the patient that someone has reported this. I mean, I don't know. But I tell you about feelings. And I hate to think it. I really do. I hate to think it, because if this is the case, then Brian is kind of fucked if he keeps seeing this doctor. So I'm going to hope and pray that this is not the issue. But I have, even to this day, right when that happened and since then, every time I think about it, did that doctor do that purposefully to sabotage my trying to get him into rehab so that Brian won't go to rehab and so he'll continue being under the care of this physician? That would be bad, because I gotta tell you, now, in the beginning, for the first year or so, Brian did get better, and obviously he keeps going, and the doctor put him on the Suboxone, and he doesn't do pills. I mean, really, he doesn't. I mean, does he ever? Never, ever, ever. And of course, technically Xanax is pills, but I'm talking about, Oxy and, all that shit. But, Valium, I think, all those kinds of opiates. But, as far as I know, the Suboxone really has cured the opioid addiction. It's just now he's into the methamphetamines. But the thing is, though, is he's gotten worse. Oh, and I did talk about that Cody guy. I did in that email. And, I mean, Brian is not getting better. He's not getting better. He's gotten worse, and he's not getting well. He needs a rehab. Absolutely 100%. He is to that point. Well, he's 25 years ago he was at that point, but you know what I'm saying? So it's a real unfortunate issue that my email did not work. I was hoping that it would. But of course, I always laugh and say, even if I hog-tied Brian and blindfolded him and threw him into the back of an unmarked van and drove him to a rehab myself and made them chain him to the facility for a month, he's got to want to do it. He does. He has to want to do it. So, So, back to all of these nasty text comments that he had written about me on Facebook that kind of restarted. I hadn't done a video in almost a year, and that kind of triggered me to start making these new videos lately. So the night that he had went onto my YouTube page and on one of my videos put, "I see your tits," and then I saw that shit, and I did not freak out on him. I was pissed, but I did not freak out on him. I just texted him, text message, phone. I know we communicate so many different ways, but actual text message on his phone number. "Could you please remove your disrespectful comment from my channel?" Well, I guess before he had done that and I had seen it and I texted him to take it off, I guess on this Facebook page that we weren't because he's always friending me and unfriending me and blocking me and all that bullshit. So I wasn't a current friend on this current 75 million Facebook pages. And I guess before he had done that, he had made some nice postings about me. I mean, it wasn't that great. It was more like, "I just want to let everybody know that I've been really mean and hateful," I think is what he said, "to this wonderful woman, said my name, and she's done everything she can to help me. She got me a doctor," started talking about that, "and she's tried to help me with my addictions, and blah, 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 and some other stuff, and she's a great girl, and I can't get my life together. It may take me a while before I can, so I'm going to be horrible with the relationship. I'm never going to give her what she needs and wants, blah, 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 blah. If any guys out there want to be with her, she'd be so wonderful, blah, 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 blah." Okay. So I was surprised that he had mentioned, about, he didn't specifically say what happened. He did not, at least in that, he did not publicly say, "This bitch wrote an email to my doctor and got involved in my medical shit," whatever. He didn't say that, but I knew that's what he was talking about. So I was actually surprised that in some sort of weird, fucked up way, he appreciated what I did and he could see that I was trying to help him. Oh, back to, forgot to say this part. So after he screams and yells at me and then hangs up on me about, this is none of your fucking business, and I don't even know you, I don't love you, blah, 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 blah. We were never a couple, and you have no right, blah, 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 blah. After he says all that, then about 2 days later, he calls me up and he leaves it because I wouldn't answer because I don't want to talk to him. So I'm doing what he does to me. I don't want to answer the phone. So he left me 2 messages, 2 voicemails. And he said, and real calmly, he said, I just want to let you know that what you did to me was really fucked up. You totally betrayed me. And I have an aunt, which I don't know if this is true or not because it's the first time I'm hearing it. I have an aunt who's a paralegal, and me and my family is what he said. So I don't know if that means his mom or his dad. I don't know, whatever. My family have consulted with her, and she said that what you did is completely illegal. And if you mess with me like that again, I'm going to get a restraining order against you and possibly seek legal action against you. So, damn. And he was completely sober and or sounding, at least on these 2 voicemails, and very professional. And it did kind of worry me that maybe he does have like a paralegal aunt, whatever. So I don't know. But anyway, but it was scary. It was a scary little thing. And then after that happened, he ghosted me. He ghosted me for maybe 2 months, I guess it was. Yeah. And then we kind of started talking again, blah, 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 blah. Cut to the night that he wrote, I see your tits on my YouTube channel. It's like, yeah, what? He's so public. God. Oh, but you don't like when I get into your business and try to actually fucking help you stop being a fucking raging addict. But he did say that, on that posting before we got into it. So I know it's confusing. So I wasn't a friend on his Facebook page, so I never saw the nice postings about me helping him, blah, 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 and I'm a great girl, and he should have snatched me up, or how he put it, and if you're a guy, you should get with her, she'd be wonderful, blah, 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 blah. I never saw any of that because I wasn't a friend on that Facebook page yet. All I saw was his nasty comment about my tits, and then I text messaged him, could you please remove your disrespectful comment from my channel? That's all I said. Literally, I could show you the text message right now. And then he just goes berserk. Well, I think he never called me. He never, or whatever. So I guess he gets that message. Then he goes back onto Facebook and writes all this shit. Like, there's like 9 postings or something like that, all against me. Oh, I recently just said all this nice stuff about this chick and blah, 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 blah. And now she's being such a fucking bitch and just like going off of me and being rude to me and saying all this shit. And it's like, dude, all I said was please remove your disrespectful comment. So he just goes off. Then he calls me. He's like, I just sent you this thing. I don't know why you're tripping. What the fuck? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, I wrote all this nice stuff about you on Facebook, and now you're being a bitch. Like, Facebook, we're not friends on Facebook. You blocked me from Facebook, He's like, oh, okay, I'll friend you because I want you to read it. But he had kind of, what I did see was I did see kind of the nice stuff sort of that he wrote a little bit, but then I was just kind of mad about it, and the whole thing, it was just fucked up. So, and it was late at night because he does everything in the middle of the night. So I had just sort of read through it a little bit, not all of those other postings. I didn't even know they were there. And then we sort of got into an argument, and then I just, I didn't fucking care, and I never went back on and looked, and although I did stay a friend on there, but then he had gotten another Facebook page, because that's what he does all the time, so it just kind of left my mind, But recently, what's it been, 3 weekends ago, I guess, I was, just, feeling bad about stuff and stalking him like I should not be doing. And I came across that old Facebook page and started looking through stuff. Oh, that's what triggered me was a couple of his friends had written something about his birthday because it wasn't the right birthday because he has so many accounts. You can watch my other video. I mean, I'm basically just reiterating all that stuff I said before, but I'm just trying to catch you up if you're just coming to this video first. His friends were on that old page making fun of him about it not really being his birthday. He wants extra presents, blah, 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 blah. And then that's when I started reading through that. And then all of a sudden I started like reading all these other posts. And then I remembered, oh my God, that was that night that he had written all that stuff, that I knew about. And then apparently he'd written all this other extra shit. So I just went off. I fucking, man, every single one of those posts, I just started just saying all kinds of shit. But anyway. So, the reason for this video is to say that I got him his addiction doctor. That's what I call it. I got that doctor for him. I went to his first appointment. I would have went to every appointment. And I took off work to even go the first time. I would, every Monday morning that I need to be at work and I'd probably get in trouble for it eventually, I would still go to his appointments with him if that would help. I would do anything that it took. Anything. And I've done everything. And it just, the thing that, all of you that are struggling with a narcissist who's not an addict, although I have a theory that every narcissist is some sort of chemical addict. And if you're just now jumping into this research, if you're with somebody, you haven't been with them that long, and you're starting to see the signs that they might be a narcissist, look for it. See if there's some sort of alcohol or drug addiction going on that you might not know about. Just look for it. I'm not trying to put stuff in your brain and make you think there's something going on that's not, but I'm just saying that my theory is that every narcissist is, well, they're obsessive, so they get addicted to anything. They can get addicted to a glass of water, but there's some sort of chemical addiction. So probably we're all dealing with this, but my personal story is that, I'm dealing with a long-term, professional, hardcore, older drug addict on top of the severe narcissism. Whew, man, it's tough, and I don't know why I'm in love with him. I just know that I am, and my love for him, and also the obsession that kind of got twisted. Once again, I say it's spiritual. If there's not some, negative entity or force driving this whole situation, I don't think I would be quite as in love. I was in love with another guy. I've only been in love twice. I was in love with another guy, and we chit-chat on the phone. Like, I talked to him today. And, we even did try to kind of get back together, and we were both kind of like, but I still am in love with him. I am. But I don't chase after him. I don't even think, I've just now thought of him, yes, I talked to him today just because he put some funny post online, whatever, comment or whatever. But if we don't interact, I really don't think about him. I'm not like obsessed with him. I'm not like, oh my God, I have to have this man. But with Brian, I am. It is some crazy obsession. And I'm not the type of girl that does that. I get crushes on people all the time, but they come and go. My feeling of the crush is like, whatever, maybe, I don't know, I don't care, whatever, and I'm friends with many of my exes, and I'm friends with a lot of guys, and I just don't have any, I don't call guys, I don't interact with men unless they interact with me, so I'm not one of these crazy women, or I shouldn't say women, crazy humans that's like, oh my God, I have to have a partner. I need, and latch onto people real quick. I don't do that, in fact, people in my life usually complain that I don't return messages quick enough. Shit, I'm as bad as Brian is, so I'm really just not like that. I'm not an obsessive, I'm obsessive about other stuff, otherwise it would be heavy, but I don't obsess over people. I really don't. This is the first time in my life I've ever been driven like this. It's crazy. So anyway, but once again, I've tried. I've tried. I don't know what else there is to do. So, I mean, the only thing left is to walk away. And, once again, I could walk away clean right this second. I have no attachments to him whatsoever. Nothing. He doesn't even have a t-shirt at my house. Well, I think I think I've stolen some of his t-shirts, whatever, but every girlfriend does that. But like, it's not like I have to gather up any of his shit and go deliver it to him. No, nothing. I could never speak to him again. Actually, I saw him driving in a car about a week ago, and we did see each other, and I just looked away, like pretend I was on my phone, and he looked kind of right at me, and he had this weird, let's see if I can do, he's kind of like that, like a shameful, sad, kind of mad at me. It was a weird little look, although we've spoken since then, and he hasn't mentioned it, but just, seeing him, so, that's the thing. I mean, I could be sitting right next to him at a light and just be like, oh, well, too bad for you. Too bad that you lost out on the greatest woman you could ever, I'm not saying any guy, but you, Brian, could ever possibly get. I can't even believe, I bet nobody can believe that you pulled me. I mean, come on. I am like I'm a fucking goddess compared to you, and compared to all of these fucking junky whores that you have surrounded yourself with your whole entire life, including the two mothers of your children. Fucking meth titty dancer whore, mother of your daughter, and your fucking heroin, fucking slamming heroin junkie mother of your son. So fuck you. You could never get anybody like me again, ever. So, anyway, okay. That was my rant for today. All right. Get away from that narcissist. And if you're with a narcissist, look and see if there's some sort of other weird addictions. I mean, I'm sure, I can guarantee you there's some sort of porn addiction. I can guarantee that right now, even if it's a female. I guarantee you that. But I think there's also, and there's other weird addictions too, because they're obsessive people. That's what it is. That's that loop. They're always on a loop. That's why they hoover, and then that's why they discard, and that's why they're cook up stories for like the flying monkey thing, where they, try to pull people in to be against you, all that kind of shit, and the smear campaigns. I mean, all this stuff, it's a loop, it's a cycle, it won't end. It's a freaking Ferris wheel that you gotta jump off of. I don't care that Ferris wheel is fucking 150 feet tall, you better jump. Even without a parachute. Okay. Look for those other addictions. And if you're just in the new beginnings of a relationship with a narcissist, and you're damn sure that that's what you're dealing with, man, get out. Don't be 5 years into it and still not out. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. You cannot fix these people. You can't. I mean, you just can't. It's sad. I mean, if all of a sudden I wake up with magical powers tomorrow, I will fix all narcissists. That's what I vow to do. I will poof, every narcissist is not a narcissist anymore. But until that happens, our best bet is just to scurry away. All right. Have a good day.